How's everybody doing tonight? Okay, yeah. Live. Sorry. How's everybody doing tonight? I wasn't sure if it was live. It's only my second night on Rumble. I'm still not sure what's going on. In fact, I'm going to test something right now. I'm going to post something in the chat just to see if it's going to show up here. Comments would not be available if you post a timeline. I don't know what's going on here. The chat portion from my mixing box already looks different from when I'm connected to YouTube. So I don't know if these chats are even going to reach, if I'm going to be able to put them on the screen or not. I'm just going to post, where's everyone tuning in from? And let's see if I can put that on the screen. It'll be in the chat box. And if you post in the chat, I'll see it. What I don't know is if I'll be able to put chats on the screen or not. It's newest comments. I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's not really like showing me anything here. Also, yesterday, in the confusion of getting banned from YouTube and switching over to Rumble, I may not have updated the scoreboard, the day on the scoreboard. So today it says day 10, but when I duplicated yesterday's show, it said day 8, and I don't know if that means that all yesterday it said day 8. So anyway, looking at the chat, I've given it a fair amount of time, and the comment didn't show up. So I'll see your chats, but I won't be able to put them on screen. That's a shame. Anyway, day 10, let's get started. Where did we leave off yesterday? It was such a, if you weren't around yesterday, it was such a, I got banned. Or, no, I didn't get banned from YouTube, but they deleted my live stream and they blocked live stream access from me because they suddenly decided, even though this isn't the first gun model that I've done, they suddenly decided that that's not allowed. And I appealed it and they said, oh yeah, it's still not allowed. So I don't know what's going to happen, if I'll ever be able to live stream there or not. So anyway, we're up to segment 5. It looks like we're one panel from segment 6, and this is the one panel. It's a weird panel. I need a minute to even figure out what's going on here. It looks like we're putting 2 eyepieces, I4 and I6, which those are going to go like, yeah, okay, this makes sense. They're going to go around this handle, which is looking kind of naked right now. See, these 2 handles look finished, and this one doesn't. So we're going to finish that handle. And it's also going to involve H1 and H11 and H13, which are 2 more wooden pieces. And then 2 P16, which are 6mm screws. So what is that, about 6 pieces total? And there's very specific instructions on how to do this. You do the handle, 1, 2, and then you do the wood, 1, 2, and then you do the screws. If you see on the instructions those 1s and 2s. The fact that they're repeating 1s and 2s means it's kind of like 2 panels in one, but whatever, it's not a problem. We'll get it done. I didn't even take the stuff out of the box yet, so let me do that first. And then we'll start building. I'm not sure how close we are to like finishing this. Frankly, yesterday I was just all about the stream being broken. It's just surprising I even got an episode done. So I did it on Rumble. I live streamed to Rumble yesterday, and then I downloaded today I downloaded the live stream from Rumble yesterday and uploaded it to YouTube, added it to the playlist. So it's basically, you know, YouTube's like now a day behind Rumble. That's nice because people actually watch Rumble. Like if you go on like Roku and you launch Rumble, you can like click on the live tab and you'll see everyone who's live right now. Which is I was already planning to eventually make it to Rumble so I can start a 24/7 stream, because I feel like, you know, that's when I saw that on Rumble, I was like, oh yeah, that's what I got to do. Obviously need a lot more content, probably some partners, but I don't know. It looks like fun. I want to do it. So in a way, I'm glad that YouTube pushed me to head out to Rumble when they did. All right. We've finished a few boards already, but we have a few left to go. All right, so the 6mm screws are in bag 16. We have these like bags. All right, here's 16. All of the screws have been dumped out of 16, but I think since they're 6mm screws, I think it's probably this one's. In fact, if you see that picture in the book, it's showing that there's two size 16mm screws. And the one that they want us to pick... Wait a second. Do they say which one they want us to pick? You know, they really don't. Maybe is it two angles of the same screw? All right. I think this is the screw, and if I'm wrong, I guess we'll find out because it won't fit. Anyway, the screws fell out of the bag, and these screws were on the floor, so I figure that must be the screws, but I don't know. Give you a look there at those screws. I think that's what we're looking for, but I don't know. All right, the eye board is the dark colored. Would you call this walnut colored board? So we're looking for pieces to finish this handle, and I mean they're labeled. It's kind of tough to see the labels because its board is so dark. We're looking for I4 and I6. So you can, it's kind of tough to make out, but that's I6 and that's I4. But you know what? You'd have to be an idiot to not realize that those are the pieces. I just want to point out that they look like a headless bird before we detach them. It's kind of what they look like. In fact, when you detach them, they're still stuck together, which is kind of cool. Maybe the bird... Oh, that was really cool. Let's see if we can get that. I want to watch that replay. So I dropped it, and it broke apart when I dropped it. It was stuck together, trust me, but I threw it, and that's it. All right, so we saw that replay. There was my little... I got to get that John Madden Telestrator for those replays. All right, so we got the I4 and the I6. We still need the H11 and H13, which are both small little pieces. So basically I have to find the H board. I don't think the H board is like... Oh, actually, it does have some small pieces. The G board, I think, was really known for small pieces. So 11 and 13. See 13 here. Where's 11? There's 11. Right there's 11. So there's our 6 pieces. So that brings us from 233 to 239. H11 and H13. So it's funny that YouTube banned my live stream yesterday, which was assembling this model gun that you see here. And today there was a mass shooter in Maine. Like, how did they know? There was something in the air. I shouldn't even say how did they know, because I've been in that position many times myself, where someone would say, how did I know? And if you're familiar with my stream in the past, you know that I've explained how I think people know. It's not remote viewing. It's not telling the future. It's rendering the data. And you just, there's a clock, and everyone's pretending that that clock is the time, but really the time is wherever you want to look at the data, however quickly you want to render it. It's like there really is no time other than that we've all agreed to say that this is time. I know I'm going against science here. I'm probably going against religion too. I'm for religion. I'm not against religion, but my sort of theory, it's a physics theory. It's a physics theory, and it's a psychology theory. Is that the word? It's a physics theory and a metaphysics theory. And maybe someone else in history had the same theory. It's a philosophy, let's call it that. So I believe in science, I believe in religion, but I also have my own philosophy. And that's what I was kind of explaining with the time. All right, so 1 and 2. So you see those circles saying 1 and 2. Let me explain to you. The 1 is putting these walnut pieces on, and the 2 is screwing the screws in. You understand? They said this is 1 and this is 2. What kind of a moron puts the screw in first and then tries to put the walnut finishing piece on second? I mean, it's hilarious that they felt the need to describe that with the 1 and 2. I mean, thanks, I guess. I don't know who needed to be told to put the finishing plate on before putting the screw in, but whatever. Now you won't mess up and blame them. Oh, by the way, I had something like that today. I was at my office in Manhattan, and they have a new building, which I've talked about many times. It's like a famous building. But I'm not going to get into that today, but what I will mention is they have all the drawers. It's impossible to bang your finger on any drawer or door. It's actually pretty cool. They have this technology where you even if you slam the door, it doesn't matter if you slam the door or the drawer, or you feather touch the door or the drawer, because either way, it's going to close at the same speed. Once it gets within like 2 inches of closing or something like that, something takes over and it'll assist you in closing it if you need assistance because you didn't push it very hard, or it'll stop it from slamming closed and it will end up closing at the same speed. It's a mechanical solution. I imagine there's some weights and some pulleys and springs. I mean, I don't know what. It's someone, if you go to Jared Owen's channel, he probably can tell you exactly how it works. I didn't study how it works, but it does work. And they also have, but here's the thing. I still managed to slam one of my fingers today, but it wasn't in a door or a drawer. They also have desks. All the desks can convert from standing desks to sitting desks. And as a result, you can control, and also the chairs, you can change the height. So as a result, you can end up with a situation, which I had today, where the chair was, let's say, a half-inch higher than the desk, but I somehow managed to temporarily bounce the chair and slide it underneath the desk, and it was my pinky was getting crushed. And when I do this right now, it hurts. But there's no scar. There's like no black and blue. The nail is not broken. It was a little bit numb for like an hour or two, and it hurts now if I squeeze it. So I still managed to get hurt. The funny thing is, the previous place, I've been in like 4 buildings since I've been there. I've been there 29 years. But anyway, the previous place, I think we were there from maybe like 2002 to 2022 or something like that. Anyway, they didn't have any of those safety features, and I don't remember pinching or slamming any of my fingers. But now, in this brand new office, which I've only been to like a dozen or so times, I managed to pinch my finger. But there's no scar. I'm generally pretty good about healing and scars. I think you can, and maybe it's a little bit colored. That took time though. I had there were 5 kids in my parents' family, and none of them went to the emergency room except for me, and I was constantly going. It was like the worst one was like this barbecue grill that ripped my face open, and I needed plastic surgery. And then the second worst was my left arm being completely burnt. And here's the thing about scars. You can't even see that. So it was burnt like from here to, it's like off camera. Anyway, it took like, I don't know, 15, but when I went to college, there just was like a discoloration like from here to here. So in 15 years, it got down to just a discoloration. And now in like 45 years, it's completely gone. So, but there's a lot of stuff like that. I had episodes of this show where I did a model and I did something to my finger and I was like, watch, we're going to come back tomorrow and it's going to be perfect. So somehow over the years, I developed the ability to heal. I guess everybody has it, but I got a lot of practice when I was a kid. I didn't learn my lesson. Not the first, not the second. I'm not sure if I ever learned my lesson. As you can see, I didn't. That's why I'm still getting banned from YouTube. So when I was a kid, it was like physical things that I was doing stupid. As an adult, they seem to be... What I didn't seem to recognize when I was a kid was the physics of the universe, which I'm still sort of don't. I think the thing when I was a kid, I think maybe my parents and brothers and sisters believed, and that got me sort of stuck in the middle. But now what I don't seem to believe in as an adult is like the sort of authorities of the universe, the people who say they're in charge of stuff, or not the universe. Let's say the country or the state or whatever, or the city. The little mini tyrants. There were a lot of them during the COVID days. Those are like the people I don't believe in now. And I'm again not learning my lesson. Like they keep, when I was a kid, I kept getting punished with emergency rooms. As an adult, I keep getting punished with like bans and financial fines and stuff. But somehow I'm not learning my lesson. And my body got stronger over the decades. And I'm thinking that maybe my sort of character and my business acumen will get stronger similarly over decades, meaning that maybe it's not such a bad thing. But maybe it is. Let's see what happens tomorrow. I really don't know. I'm just living my life, and whatever happens, happens. Anyway, that was the end of segment 5. We're now up to segment 6. And another reminder, while putting this model together, we've been talking about all sorts of fitness things, like what we can do to stay in shape. I've been talking about a different thing each night. I think walking was the first one, and I don't remember if yoga was the second one, but it was somewhere in there, So walking, stretching, weightlifting, a few different things, playing sports, juggling. And another one I'll bring up tonight is fast feet. This is a little bit like if you ever played the game Dance Dance Revolution. That's kind of like what fast feet are. And you have to be careful with fast feet, because if you stomp the ground too hard, like the ground's not going to go anywhere, especially if it's like made of concrete. So if you're like repeatedly stomping the ground, you actually can injure yourself. You can injure your knee, your hip, your foot. There's like a lot of stuff you can injure. So what you have to remember about fast feet is they're fast, but they're not stomping. Like if you're like playing in the snow or the ice, maybe snow, maybe not ice. Maybe snow you can like stomp. Maybe ice, I'm not sure. But you can't stomp on concrete. You have to tap concrete. You have to like know where it is, and you have to know where you're tapping. Because if you slam into concrete, you're going to hurt yourself. So, like one drill, I'll explain the first drill in a minute. Let me first talk about this piece. So, on segment 6, we start here with this piece A1, and they indicate they want it waxed. So that's the symbol, and they say wax the yellow parts. The parts aren't actually yellow, they're yellow in the book, not in real life. So there's actually an outline on those pieces, and you need to know which is top and which is bottom. In this case, I'm matching the orientation that they're holding it, and I'll also tell you this is the side with ink. So they want us to wax these two sort of middle pieces here. You can see them there, right? And then we're going to move on and add 3 other pieces, like a piece of wood and 2 screws to here. That's G13 and P12. So A1, G13, and 2 P12s. That's 4 pieces. That brings us up to 243. So with the fast feet, and I believe that the first I heard of people doing this was at Stanford College, but I'm sure they didn't invent it. Anyway, it's like you could pick like a tile, like a 1x1 square tile somewhere, or any size tile. Basically, it has a line, and you just like put your feet on it, and you go like, oh, sorry, wrong camera. So you put your feet, let's say that's the line, you put your feet here, and you like, just like do your foot like forward and backward. And then like backward and backward. And then you could get really advanced. That's like the Dance Dance Revolution. And someone could call out the boxes and you could tap them. Basically the game Dance Dance Revolution. You can think about that. That's fast feet. But you want to do them fast, but not slam them. You slam them, you're going to injure yourself. Even if you do them fast, like sort of build up to it. Don't go on the first day as fast as you can. Like build up the speed, and it's actually really an athletic move. I mean, if you think about it, in like football, basketball, soccer, I mean, the ability to change direction and to have fast feet, faster than your opponents, it's invaluable in sports. All right. I just put 2 P12s out there. They're just in a bag, P12. They're 5mm screws that are 2 millimeters in diameter. I'm not going to break out the calipers. This bag only has P12s. So I take 2 screws from that bag, and those are the right pieces. So we have the A1, 2 P12s. We still need a G13. Now the G board, that's the one that's full of little tiny, basically just pin pieces. But we've used up most of them. So there's only a few left. All right, so the one we're looking for, it looks like, you see that shape? I mean, it looks like that shape here. It's just an exact match. We're just going to like sort of double reinforce that wood. We're going to put that on and we're going to screw it down. And that's all we're doing in this first panel of segment 6. I feel like I should take the gun off camera for a minute because we're not using it at the moment. We're starting a new section. I'll bring it back on camera when it's relevant, which could be the next panel. Probably will be the next panel. But anyway, at least for a second, it'll be off camera. All right. So I've got now the G13 piece, and if you take a close look, it's like the same exact like size and shape as this drawing. So A1 has like a drawing on it, and it matches this G13. So we're just going to drop it right on there. And then we're going to grab these two screws, which I don't know if you can even see them on the black surface, but these two screws, we're going to screw that in. They gave us this little like baby-sized screwdriver. It's ridiculous. I'm not sure if it goes with this. These screws, actually, I think it's pretty rare to use the small one. No, that's it. It grips it. So we're going to use these baby screws. We're going to use this baby screwdriver right now. You can't even tell I have a screwdriver in my hand right now. It's like such a nothing piece of whatever. But anyway, that's the job. Screw these screws in. If I can even hold this screwdriver, it's so tiny. You can't even see what I'm doing. It's like, I don't know how to give you the angle. Let's try this one. Okay, yeah. If I get my left hand out of the way. I don't know. It's still kind of like impossible to see what's going on here. I can tell you it's not lined up at the moment. I might have screwed it into the wood in the wrong spot. No, I didn't. Which probably would be unlikely because the screw was like a flat cylinder. It didn't have like, I forget the name for it, but like it didn't have teeth. It couldn't bite into the wood. And if you flip it over and look here, you can see that it's now flush. That's the screw. It's a flat piece of wood. It's a flat screw. I guess one of them's a little like tighter than the other. What do you think? Maybe this one could be a little tighter. It didn't even say in the instructions like how tight to do it. So I'm not even sure. All right, second panel of segment 6. There's no pieces being added. It just says gently push to secure it. But this is a pretty important piece here. So here's the gun. There's a lot of mechanics up here, just to remind you. I've got this piece that like travels all the way up here. It's something to do with the firing mechanism. Maybe that line is where it's going to travel. I'm not sure. Anyway, it makes me want to wax this piece some more. Do you remember this piece we were waxing? Let's wax it some more because that piece with all the travel, I think it's going to rub right up against this. I think I want to wax not just the faces of the pieces, but the edges too. Just wax everything. So this is going to drop like kind of face down. You can tell by the shape of it, it matches the instructions there, but also this little piece that we screwed on is going to go face down. So they said gently push this in. So there's a little slot at front. I don't know if you see that little slot, so we need to slide that in. And then there's a bunch of pins on the side. We actually kind of have to do them all together. Like I backed this out a little bit because we need to get it on the pins and then push it forward. Because some of those pins, if you can see, they're like hook style pins, meaning like you got to put them on at the back and then slide them to the front. So we're bringing it back a little bit. It says gently push it on. All right. I tell you, I can't get it on this back section. I should have waxed this up. I'm going to do it right now. Oh, you see that yellow there? We were supposed to wax that. I wonder if I missed that instruction like earlier. Maybe we were told to wax that and we didn't do it. I didn't do it. Not your fault. Anyway, let's try again. You can see it like sort of fits around everything going on here. Something like not allowing this to go on. Maybe that's all that talk about being gentle. Like, don't get frustrated and start pushing it on. You'll end up breaking the piece. So getting this on here, I guess, is going to take a minute, just because you don't want to break it. They say be gentle. I feel like if I'm completely gentle, it's not going to go on, but all right. Somehow this has to go on. All right, I got an idea. I'm going to put it on the back first. All right, so I'm going to take it off. I'm going to put it on the back first to get it like underneath, because there's more hooks here. So I want to get it underneath those hooks. And then I want to deal with the front. If I have to bend the piece of wood, I will. Let's try it again. Actually, we got it down low enough in the back. It's tough to even work with this because it doesn't fit. Like, my desk is only so long. This rifle is longer than my desk. Yeah. Now, I wonder if these two pieces are not even with each other, and that's why I can't get this to go on. It says be gentle. Okay. All right, I gently got it hooked at both the front and back. You would think that that's the toughest, right? The front and the back. Maybe it is, and maybe things are going to start going well now. They are starting to go well now. So I had to bend the front to get it down. See, it's kind of like warped here. I had to bend to get that front in. But it's going to straighten out once I get it on all the pins. I just had to send it back here first, down to hook it on. And then once I hooked it on, it was too far forward, so I needed to bend it. I did that. Now I just got to get these little hooks on. And then this is assembled. Yeah, there we go. It's done. And I just push it a little bit forward to really get those hooks to secure it. All right, I think we did this. I think we got this piece on. We don't move the counter. There was no pieces. There was no pieces added. But we attached these two pieces. And actually, I think it makes quite a difference in terms of this actually looking like a gun at this point. I think so, you know. Let's see. Let's keep building. Let's see what's next. All right, so we put that top on. Do you remember these bullets? They bring you to the next instruction. All right, so it says keep other parts well for later use. I mean, is that like a proper English sentence? Keep other parts well for later use. So, like, don't snap any pieces? I'm not really sure what they're asking us there. Anyway, we're going to add another piece on top. The piece is B1. As I recall, that B board is full of ink. And as you can see in that instruction, it's going to be full of ink. So we're going to add the B board, and we're going to secure that. It looks like with two P15s and a P14, so basically 3 screws. I don't know, maybe a couple of them are tacks. I don't know. No, they're all screws. So P14 is a 2x10 millimeter screw, and P15 is a 4. So they're both 10 millimeter. One's a little thicker. The 15 is a little thicker than the 14. 14 goes in the back. The two 15s go on the side, and the piece, of course, is a B1. So put that all together. That's 4 pieces. That brings us to 247. I'm not sure if they count the screws as pieces. Like in their calculation of 275 pieces, they may not have counted the screws. I am counting the screws. So we may end up with different totals at the end. Whatever. It's all just for fun. I call it a scoreboard, but nobody's actually keeping score. All right. Yeah. Remember what I told you about the B board? It's like all ink. All ink all the time. Battlefield Dominator. Is that the name of this gun? I guess. All right, so B1 is this piece back here. But there's sort of an issue with this piece. Let me show you here if I can. See that? Those are two B3s. This is a B2. And I think that's 4 B4s. It's so tiny you can't even read it. I don't know if I can make that any clearer. Yeah. All right, so a B2, two B3s, and a B4. What I think happens is there's an entire triangle here that comes out. Yeah, I believe that. That's exactly what happens, but I don't know how to get it out without breaking the piece that we need to get out. So I got it. So there's like 7 micro pieces on here. Like, we're not going to use any of them right now, but there they are. What we're going to do with them is we're going to throw them on this like scrap pile that we have over here. And they'll show up later. All right, inspecting the rest of B1. I think that's the only crazy situation. The rest of this wood is just B1. There's nothing going on here. But we got to get it out without breaking it. The B board is very thin board. You can see how the wood will bend like no problem. You know, it's a very thin board. It bends, but we don't want to break it. So we got to be careful here. Look at this, accordion pieces, and they're right next to this like 1/16 of an inch divider, which means I got to be very careful that I'm holding and separating from the divider, not holding the accordion piece. I could end up breaking both the B1 and these accordion pieces, which I believe are B30s. All right, we got B1 out. As usual, I made it seem way more dramatic than it actually was. Is that inked on both sides? No, just inked on one side. That would be crazy. All right, so 2 P15s and a P14. Have we used P15s yet? We have, because the bag is open. For some reason, I opened it from the bottom. P15, upside down. All right, we need 2 P15s. And then we need 1 P14. P15 is the thicker screw? Are you kidding me? How thin is the other screw going to be? So this one is 4. This is not 4 millimeters thick. I don't know what that 4 means. Oh, 1.4. This is the thinner screw. It's not 4 millimeters. It's 1.4 millimeters in diameter. I'll just show you that. I'm going to zoom in to the instructions. It's one of them is the P14s are 2 millimeters in diameter. The P15s are 1.4. So the P15s are actually the thinner screw. So if you can't see them, there's the screws. All right, we still need the P14. By the way, I have pieces like sitting in the box. You know, pieces that have like fallen out. Why won't that? Okay, there we go. I have them off camera in the box with the screws. I don't know what caused those pieces to fall out or when. All right, we have not used the P14 bag yet. We're opening it for the first time. All right. Yep, that's a thicker screw, all right. It's 2 millimeters. It's not that thick. Don't get too excited, but it is somehow thicker than the P15. Would it make you happy to see a close-up of that screw, those screws? I'm not sure if I can get it on camera. because they're like balanced on the, yeah, there we go. You can see the 14 is a little bit thicker. All right. So now we got to screw them in. It says to do this first, which we did, and then these two screws next. I guess it means this screw goes third. All right, so let's do that. Do you think it takes the baby screwdriver or the kitty screwdriver? I'm not sure. Let's try the babe first. Wow, it's so skinny. The screw is skinnier than the screwdriver. Again, I don't know if this is even lined up. It's like, I'm going to start it with my fingers, see if I can sense if it's going in or not. So, they elected a Speaker of the House today. His name was Mike Johnson. Somehow, he wasn't the type of person who's on the news a lot. Like, a lot of people were like, excuse me, who? Like, they were expecting that the Speaker of the House should be someone famous, you know, like Nancy Pelosi or Kevin McCarthy or Jim Jordan, but that's not always the case. I mean, the guy had good values, good reputation. I guess people trusted him. There you go. I actually think that a lot of people were like thinking that it looks bad that it took him like 3 weeks to pick a Speaker of the House. I don't think so. I think that was quite a success. It was like some people. It started with like Matt Gaetz and Nancy Mace and whoever. Some people decided they have expectations and they're not going to be happy with the speaker until those expectations are met, especially if the speaker agreed when he got their vote the first time. And then once that happened, then I think everybody sort of thought, well, I have expectations too. like what? Like, you don't have to vote with everyone else. I don't have to vote with everyone else either. And I don't know if people got tired of that and it just happened that this guy was nominated on the day that everyone got tired of not having a speaker, or if they found a guy that everyone was happy with, which was my assumption. I don't know if it's true or not, but that's what I'm thinking. Those screws are not going in. I'm going to try the back screw. All right, the back screw. There's 2 holes back here. So I'm not even sure which hole it goes in. It goes in the more front one. I think I'm going to try this bigger screwdriver as well. Maybe once we get the back in, then those side ones will go in. Well, the back is... No, the back is not in. It's sitting back there. So what does that tell us? It means that it needs to go forward. This whole piece of wood needs to go forward. So that back screw didn't do anything. I don't know if you could see that. It just came right out the back. So we should be able to just pop that right up. So that tells me, let me look underneath there. I'm trying to see if there's a hole underneath there. There is, yeah. It's not really a hole. It's a slit in the wood. This piece of wood back here has like a slit in it, and it's going to wedge in there. So basically, it means that this whole thing, this B1, is not forward enough. So I'm taking all 3 screws out, and we're going to try to get this piece, this B1 piece, more forward than it is now. You can see there's like, whatever, eighth or 16th of an inch to go. We got to get this board forward. It's not gonna, we're not gonna get the screws in if we don't. Something might not be lined up, and therefore something else could be stopping it. That I felt like that wasn't down far enough. It might move now. Nope. Let me try pushing it down and forward at the same time. Do you see that? The wood buckled. Yeah, you see that? It's buckling. So something is stopping this from going forward. And there's a lot of potential. There's these four pieces here. I don't know how to get this all on camera for you. I'm sorry. There's these four pieces here. And then there's these big pieces back here. All potentially stopping this from sliding forward. And I don't know quite where the problem is. I think it's at the back. It's where the problem's been the whole time, right? I feel like I just want to sand it or something to make it go forward. You can't see it, but I can. Maybe you can see it. You see that slit in the wood? I think it's lined up with that circle. No? Let's try again. I think maybe we got it. Let's see. Nope. It just went behind it again. So that's a negative. Maybe I can push it in there. No, that's not the way to do it. Maybe I could put it in on an angle or something. No, because we need to get this lined up later. These holes, they're obviously going to need to be lined up later. All right, well, you know what happens when we can't figure something out. We stop the show, I fix it off camera, and then I explain it the next time. At the beginning of tomorrow's show, I'm going to explain how I got these 3 screws in, because right now they're not going in, and I got to put them somewhere so we remember tomorrow. So there's this bag here. It's got a bunch of springs in it. I'm going to put the 3 screws in that bag. I don't know if I'm going to finish it tonight or tomorrow, but it's going to be off camera. And then when I turn it on tomorrow, I'll explain what was the problem and how we fixed it. Because I've been in situations in the past where I spend like 20 minutes on camera trying to figure something out, and it's just a waste of time. I don't figure it out. And then off camera, I figure it out in 1 minute. So that's the way to go. Figure it out and then just explain it at the beginning of the next episode. So that's what we're going to do. I'm John Rapp. This is Just Rest Your Eyes. Good night, and see you tomorrow.